that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graeme Spice, and Clay Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match attending and international sports view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm good, mate. I'm doing good. And from a match attending review, you're going to be there in a few hours, mate. So you're
will be
attending the game of the season, I guess it is.
Yeah, well, it could be the end of the season.
Exactly. It's going one way or the other, isn't it? It's either the game of the season or it's the season is definitely over.
Yeah, I will see. We've got it all to play for still. It's only a one goal deficit. You know, there's been games this season where we've just turned up and we played really well. If we turn up and do that, we shouldn't have any issues, I don't think, with Alkmaar. But there's been more games where we haven't turned up than there ones where we have. And that's
indeed. Well, and speaking of games where we probably didn't turn up, I certainly didn't turn up in the first half against Bournemouth. I thought that was, again, just really flat. Like,
awful.
And to our listeners and to yourself, take my viewing experience for what it's worth, because I was watching on a iPhone in a tent with probably at best a 4G network, and it was a bit wobbly and grainy. It's not that I watched it live, it was just buffering even on the replays. But what I saw in the first half was a pretty flat, abject performance. I guess you could say as a positive, at least he was able to make changes, whereas when we've had the flat, abject performances in the past, we've not been able to make changes. But yeah, I don't know what you saw it like, but do you take it as a positive that we were 2-0 down and we clawed our way back, or do you take it as a negative that we were shit in the first half yet again?
But we can't keep only playing for 45 minutes, can we? Because giving them a 2-goal head start, we're not always going to catch them.
Yeah.
So I was positive Solanke was fit, which I was worried about after the last game where he got off injured. So that was good. First half was, as you said, was terrible. We got carved open almost at will. Every time they got on the break, we just looked like they're parting the Red Sea to let them come through. And Vicario made a couple of really good one-on-one saves that kept us in the match.
He certainly did. And also, was it Romero's first touch when he just played that square ball?
He didn't really have a touch. He was so poor, wasn't he? He looked like someone who he looked like.
Well, and also take this again for what it's worth from his point of view, but it's nice of him to tweet and thank the Argentinian physios.
Yeah, that was interesting, right?
Yeah,
not sure what happened there, but
yeah. So let's see what that plays out in the summer. But VDV, of course, was back, and by virtue of yet another injury, Kevin Dadaso would probably see the two of them tonight, right? You would expect, or the morning for me, but tonight for you. We probably should see both of them playing, VDV and Romero. And I read somewhere, my mate just sent me this crazy stat. It was something like, last time Vicario, Romero, Maddison's son started a game together was when we beat West Ham 4-1 in October. That's crazy. That is crazy how long it's been.
Yeah, and so the other option, the only other good thing, I know that Dance is injured and it's another hamstring. It's Ange Postecoglou, destroyer of hamstrings. Yes, he's going to be out for a while, I imagine. But Davies is back, so
yeah,
we've got cover again. At least if something goes wrong in the match, we've got another defender to bring on, which is
not only cover, but it's also experience, right? Something that we've severely lacked. Yeah. But just going back to the Bournemouth game, I mean, did you leave that game? Because I left that game thinking we didn't really deserve that.
Absolutely. Daylight robbery, that one was.
Yeah.
No way we deserved anything out of that game. But, obviously you'll take it, but they did. Yeah. They deserved all 3 points, really, which is, their 2 goals were really good goals, but we made it easier for her.
Yeah. Now, we can't talk about goals without talking about Sarr's goal.
Yeah.
I mean, shot or cross?
Cross. There's no way he meant that.
I don't think he meant it either. I mean, he had a bit of a look, but I'm like, I think he's crossing that.
Yeah.
I mean, lovely to see it go in, of course. And then you've got to laugh. Son's penalty was, talk about nonchalant. It was a lovely pen, to be fair. But look, again, I said on the last episode, the league is becoming a grind to watch because we know we're not going to finish much higher than about 10. So it's just mid-table.
It's like the players know that too as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm seeing in the football is, well, it doesn't really matter anymore, almost. Which is, I think, as a professional, it's not a great attitude, is it? But
No, it's not. It's probably hard to come out of a slump. I mean, I was able to watch, you shared with me after the last one we recorded, the Maddison lip reading. I can't really make out what I know, but who knows? Who knows? Right? Is he frustrated? I suppose as a professional footballer, when you're not winning games and you're languishing in mid-table, and then you're in a European game and you get hooked, he's not going to say nice things, maybe. So, but would you want him to say nice things to that? Do you want him to care? I don't know. I don't know what to read into it.
Yeah.
But look, as we said, the season either continues tonight or is definitely over. So,
we've said, why would you get rid of him now? If we go out tonight, why would you get rid of him now? Because unless you've got someone lined up to take over immediately who can then assess the squad, there's no point, right? Because we're not going to get any better than this, or we're not going to go down. We're probably not going to get anywhere near a European place. Why would you get rid of him? But then we've done it before, and anything is possible. Thomas messaged me and said that there's some rumours doing around that Zabi's been spoken to. But he's available as well. It's the reason, I guess.
He's available, and also when I think about the players that we've got, I don't think it's a complete redo if you brought someone like him in. But I don't know. I'll have more to say after tonight, I suppose. Because that's going to tell us so much. Who was Xavi last managing then? Was he in Qatar or Saudi or something?
I'm not sure.
Was he? I thought he was I remember. If that's the rumour doing the round, fair enough. I mean, because
I've seen it a lot. He was.
Yeah. So, look, is it a complete shift? It's a complete shift in style, probably. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I think he started in Qatar.
That makes sense.
Barcelona till last year. Because they let him go, didn't they?
Right, Al Sadd and then okay, yeah, makes sense.
He's been linked with Saudi leads.
Yeah.
And a potential return to Barcelona. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know.
Look, I can't sit here or stand there as I am and say, I'll take him or wouldn't take him. I don't know what to make of that. But we've got previous. I mean, when did we get rid of bloody Mourinho? It was not only was it before a cup final, but if you remember, that League Cup final was really late that season because of COVID. So that was April that we binned him off. So we've got previous. So
if you think about it, right, if we play tonight, we go out. If there is a manager in the wings queued up to start, he gets 10 games this season to really stress test the squad to see whether they are able to play or want to play the way he wants them to play. And then he's got the summer window to start making changes. Maybe that's better than bringing someone new in July. Because that's the other problem with knowing Tottenham the way we know Tottenham. Even if we start looking for a new manager in the summer, we probably won't sign them until the end of bloody August. And then we won't have any time to work with the players. So the sooner the better. If we're going to pull the trigger, I'd rather we just did it.
Get it over with. Or does it go the other way? We just continue to back the man that's there.
Well, I wouldn't bet against that either. Because they say, well, you've got to give them a full season without all the injuries. Well, what's the chances of that happening again next season? Well, this is the thing, isn't it?
This is the thing, right? Talking about Kevin Danso, it's like, well, is Ange actually the reason for the injuries? So it's a catch-22.
Yeah. Because it can't be that we just accidentally bought a whole bunch of players who've got dodgy hamstrings.
Well,
it's not possible.
I read something somewhere that Danso hadn't, like his injury record, he hadn't had any, or he just hadn't really been.
He looks like he's carved out of granite.
Yeah. And I think at Lens, he'd only missed a total of 6 games, and that was across quite a few seasons. He had heart issues where he was cleared, but he's not had like muscular issues or hamstring or anything like that going until he's got to Spurs.
Yeah, Tottenham.
Yeah, indeed. So it's going back to his Celtic days, Ange even admitted a lot of his injuries, mainly hamstrings, are due to his training demands. I mean, well, it is what it is, mate.
Yeah, which is fine as long as you've got the depth of squad to support that, right?
Yeah.
which we've clearly not had this season because
and one could argue in the Scottish League, you've got the depth of squad, but then you're in a less competitive division, right?
You could play the tea lady in some of the games, probably.
Right. It's like you're going to be so far ahead of third, even if you don't win the league, you're always going to be up there, right? Because it's Scotland.
You could probably sleep till end of March and still make the Europe.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, we touched on it. You're attending the game. Are you in your season ticket seat, or do you have to?
I am. Yeah, I am
in the ground.
I am in my normal seat.
Oh, good.
So, by hindsight, I might have chose somewhere else, knowing that my friend's going to be at the other end of the stadium. But it doesn't matter. It's fine. Again, I'm quite happy to sit around my. Some of them are okay. They're a bit of a pain in the arse, but we'll take the rough with the swell, I guess.
So it'll be interesting. I'm sure I'll hear from you because it's a 7 a.m. kickoff for me. I'll be up live watching that. But I'll be interested to understand from you what the atmosphere is like. Is there actually much of the Levy out sentiment in the stadium, or is it more just getting behind the team in a massive game? Are you excited to go, though? I mean, it's been a while for you.
Yeah,
do you feel more obligated that it's time?
No. I kind of wanted to go to this one anyway. I think something about European matches under lights. It's something special. For me, a lot of my best Tottenham matches have been, it's been Real Madrid at Wembley and Inter Milan at home at the old stadium. And all of those matches that are just, there's something really special about that under floodlights. So, I am really looking forward to it, even though I have no idea what Tottenham team's going to turn up, right? Anything's possible.
Well, if we can, like you said, if we can have an energetic, fast start, we know we've got that in us, right, to score a couple of goals. And if we can do that and get the crowd, including you, behind us, then who knows what we can go on and do.
Exactly that. We get a couple of goals up, a fast start, get a couple of goals up. All of a sudden, the stadium's rocking. The team will pick up on that energy, you'd hope. And then I don't think we'll have any problems. But what we cannot afford to do is to turn up at half time. Because if we do that, we'll probably be out of the tie before. If they score one goal, we're going to struggle. Because also, in trying to get the 2 goals back, we'll leave ourselves even more open to counter-attack, which they will do.
So, interestingly, and this must have been done by design by UEFA, it's staggered, we will know our next opponent because the Frankfurt Ajax game kicks off at 5:45 p.m. UK time.
Yeah, we've sort of, didn't we? Like last week, that was the 8th game, and now it's the other way around.
So we know who we have, and so who won Frankfurt won away. Not that away goals count, so Frankfurt are winning 2-1 at the moment.
I'm going to keep an eye on that one. I'm not sure I'll be able to watch that one because obviously I'll be in transit, but I might see if I can get up on my phone. Won't work on the team, obviously, but keep an eye on the score, certainly.
Well, and look, if we can get the result, all of a sudden we're in a major European quarter-final. It's suddenly very big. It becomes this is what's so frustrating about tonight, and I really hope we show up, because the way the Europa League, and in fairness, I was saying this to a mate, I don't know if you caught it, but I watched the Real Madrid Atletico Madrid game this morning for me, last night for you. Excellent game of football, really enjoyed it. And there's been so much more jeopardy in the Champions League putting this new format, because you had Liverpool winning the league, winning the league phase, but then they're out. They've lost to PSG. You had Real Madrid meeting Man City in a playoff. You've got Real Madrid playing Ledi, which could arguably be a final. So it's been really exciting. So look, a broken clock's right twice a day, I suppose, but UEFA have actually seemed to have got this right. So I'm hoping the same can be said for the Europa League, because all of a sudden, if we find our way through and we're in a quarter-final, it's like, looking at the teams around us, you're like, bloody hell.
Well, so we've got I haven't looked at the way it works. We've got Ajax and Frankfurt one of those two next. After that, I don't know, on our side of the draw, who else could we meet in the semi then before we...
So it looks like it would be Bodo Glimt would be playing on currently as the results stand in terms of if they both go through, it'll be Lazio. So it'll be... That would be each of the quarters, right? So it'll be us versus Ajax or Frankfurt, and then Bodo Glimt versus Lazio, and then it'll be one of those two.
Yeah. Cool.
And then it's wide open, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, It really is. And
I think, do you know the weird thing? It reminds me of the Champions League run to the final that season, in that it was almost like we had two parallel worlds almost, like, because the European was exciting and there was jeopardy, and we seemed to really just turn up for those matches. But the league form that season was dog shit.
So it was so flat.
It was like this season. It was really bad, and but it was like two different teams. Like we for some reason you hear the Champions League music and they turn into different players. It was very weird.
No,
So I mean, it was a bit like that this season. If we can, mind you, we haven't been that great in Europe this season, but if we from now on, if we could string together, we've only got to string together a few matches, right?
exactly right. And with it being 2 legs if we get through in this course, 2 legs, you've got a home leg. It's like, bloody hell, like, just pull your socks up and you can actually sort this out and make a bit of history, Tottenham. You can actually go on and do something quite special.
Yeah.
And also, talking about jeopardy, what I really like about the new Champions League format is you didn't get Champions League teams dropping down.
Yeah,
locally.
Likewise, I always thought that was pretty shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's unfair on the teams that are in the Europa League, that they go through all the group phase and all the tedious stuff only to be dumped out by someone who was shit in the Champions League. It felt like a bad unfair.
No, indeed. Well, obviously you're going to be attending, as we mentioned, but what do you reckon, mate, prediction-wise? I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to win 3-1. I think we will go 2 or 3-0 up and then nick a consolation, but I really do. Because I think we'll keep attacking and we'll leave ourselves open, but I think we're going to win the game 3-1 and go through.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's a fair shout. I can't see anything. Worst case scenario, we need a win, right? And I'll take any win by more than 1 goal. But 2-1, 3-1. 2-1's not enough. 3-1, it'd have to be then minimum. So I'll go for as well.
Yeah. My hope is that we see Gray playing in the number 6 because Bentancur's suspended.
Yes.
And I hope we see a back 4 of Spence, Romero, Van der Ven or Doggy, and then Bergvall and Maddison the other side in the midfield. And then you've got Solanke. I think you could see Solanke, Kell on the right, Son on the left.
Yeah.
Although Kell hasn't been great, but I also don't think he's had much time to settle in, and I don't think he's been playing in his natural position.
No, and he's never had a striker to play off, apart from the match where Richarlison came back and got injured.
Yeah, correct. So we've got options.
Yeah. I had one thing I wanted to cover quickly before obviously we're fairly short recording today because we're in the middle of the workday for me and time is of the essence, should we say. Something that happened this week. Yesterday they announced the season ticket prices will be frozen for next season, which I think is obviously welcome. But there is, you have to read the small print because it gets quite interesting underneath that. So at the moment, when you sell a ticket on the exchange, so say you can't attend a match, you sell your season ticket for that match, you get paid the category, the general admission category value of the ticket. So for instance, a category A game, our ticket is £81.
Yeah.
And for a category C, it's £48. So it's kind of a sliding scale depending on how interesting the game is. That's gone. So from next season, it will be you get 1/9 of the.
So the most
ticket.
you can charge is 119 for what you pay. Essentially.
Yeah, so it'll be about 52 quid or something like that. I think it is for all the matches.
And they're basically capping making a profit.
Yeah, because they'll charge it out at 81, and you'll only get the 52. So they'll make extra money on that for you selling your ticket, which is
there's got to be blowback on that. There definitely be blowback on that. There has to be. And
also, it gets better. So the other thing that's really important is at the moment, if I have a friend who I want to transfer the ticket to, which we've done quite a bit when I've not been able to go, and obviously you're not able to attend every game. So when we haven't been able to do it, we've been able to transfer it to anybody who has so you don't need to be a member, you just need to have a CRN, which allows me to transfer it. No more. Now, you'll only be able to transfer a season ticket to someone who has a membership. So someone's got to have a paid membership for you to be able to transfer a ticket to them.
The CRN can be free.
Yes. Currently,
you have to be a paid member
from now on. So if anyone if we can't go to a match and we want to pass a ticket on to somebody, they need to be a paid member. That's going to cause a lot of friction around. the headline looks great, but underneath, I think they'll end up making more money because of what they're doing with the season ticket exchange, the 190 thing, and also they'll get a load of additional memberships because people who are having tickets transferred will have to have one, and that's what I think is it 40 or 50 quid? I don't know. I haven't looked for a few years.
It is, and so in theory, you may get people signing up to be a member for 50 quid and pay the 50 quid or 60 quid for the ticket and only go once.
Exactly.
Because,
So, you'll end up paying as much for the membership as you would for one ticket.
Yeah.
So it's like a throwaway almost. Anyway, so I thought an interesting discussion point. I'm waiting to see if there's, as you say, if there's any blowback from that. I know that we'll see. I just think it's going to make the friction for people who have tickets. But I guess if you go to every match, then this isn't going to affect you in the slightest. So I guess you could look at it that way. It only affects people who have tickets who don't use them regularly.
Another thing that might scream to me as well is a freeze on price and more profit on top for the club and not the individual could scream to me sale of the club.
Maybe, yeah, that would make sense.
There's as much in the...
But if they were going to do that, they would have done They would have done both if that was the case, though, right? The headline says, "Look at us, aren't we great?" But underneath that, there's additional revenue generation. Yeah.
No, indeed.
I think. We'll see how it goes.
Indeed. Well, look, we're at the bottom of the hour for you and for me. I know it's your daytime, so enjoy the game tonight, mate. And to our listeners, as always, come on, you Spurs. Let's do it. Let's keep the season going. Let's keep the season alive. But enjoy the game.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who's listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Tottenham supporters. And as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs.
You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.